Okay, so here we go. Spectre, Ghost Rider. Of course, I'm using much more of the Danny Ketch style Ghost Rider. That's the one that, well, yeah, that's the one that I'm more used to. That's one that I read up with normally when I read Ghost Rider comics. It was the Danny Ketch style with Johnny Blaze kind of being a guy who was there to help him out. Who did a tremendous amount of also work too with his shotgun full of hellfire. So the Ghost Rider character concept shares a lot with Spectre. Spectre, of course, is a more direct relation to the voice, which is the one that sits above all, and is kind of the spirit of vengeance. Depending on which Ghost Rider you're reading, the character is bound to Zarathos. Zarathos, depending on when you're reading, is either a demon on par with Mephisto, or it's actually the angel of justice that was tricked by the devil and then became a demon. If you're seeing Red Ghost Rider, it is Zarathos in demon form. If it is Blue Ghost Rider, it is Zarathos in angel of justice form. Where Spectre, unless he's unbound, is pretty much always the hand of justice. Or I might say hand of vengeance, or spirit of vengeance. He's got a couple different variations on the exact same sort of name. Spectre, of course, ironically for being one of the more bizarre and unique characters, debuted in More Fun Comics. Because a guy who can blink people out of existence and is occasionally very poetic in his way of killing people, or exacting justice, debuts in More Fun. Ironically, going back to some of the other iterations of him, he has been shown to be on par with the majority of cosmic entities. You know, during the time of Countdown to Infinite Crisis, he actually was unbound. During the time that he was unbound, he pretty much destroyed all of magic. Because he was, of course, being controlled by Eclipso, who was one of the original, more Old Testament style, the voice, spirit of vengeance. So a lot of much more cosmic things kind of going on here. And I'm going to do this through my 9 criteria as best as I can, because these are two guys who have probably some of the most bizarre attributes, and their power levels fluctuate rapidly depending on who's writing them. So I'm trying to do this as best I can, because each writer writes these characters ridiculously differently. They've also had multiple iterations. I think there's been at least 3 different people who have been Ghost Rider. And when it comes to Spectre, you would have had Chris Banella, would have been one of the more recent ones. Before you would have had Hal Jordan. Then you had Corrigan. And also there's another person around there too. So multiple people have been both these characters. So it's kind of a title with each character possessing different powers given said title. So as always, any comments, complaints, criticisms, that's the comment section below. Now, intelligence. This one's kind of hard because they both have a divine level of knowledge. So when it comes right down to it, it's like, okay, well, who ends up having a higher degree of intelligence? And Spectre, under almost all iterations, is an omnipresent individual. So pure omnipotence. Ironically, in the DC universe, one of the few characters that actually remembers what happened pre-Crisis era. And is aware of when anything is happening that requires justice and or vengeance. Fighting ability. This one was a difficult one because the Spectre isn't someone who engages in actual direct physical combat. Predominantly because of what he's a cosmic entity. It's almost like saying who's a better fighter, Wolverine or Galactus. Where Ghost Rider, having a much more physical presence, actually does get engaged in a lot more physical combat. Which is also why quite a few of these are going to kind of go the way of Ghost Rider. You know, I'm looking at a guy who's not throwing punches and throwing kicks and actually doing the actual physical battles. He's much more of a cosmic entity. And keeping along with that, when it goes to strength, I'm pretty sure people are going to post that really awesome I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the Spectre was actually able to hold off the Anti-Monitor to have five Earths still remain. And I think that it also was in the Justice League Avengers, where Hal Jordan's Spectre is actually trying to pull the two planets apart so they don't overmerge off each other. But those aren't feats of strength you can easily calculate. They're the cosmic level of physical strength, where it's like, well, strength, looking at it from a physical standpoint, does have a level of limitations. If I'm watching somebody who is actually pulling the fabric of space and time apart to keep two planets from overlapping and destroying themselves, or battling an entity that has spent several centuries devouring other universes and becoming more powerful, it kind of becomes, this is what we're seeing because that's all our brains can comprehend about what's going on around us. And you're like, okay, that's what I've got for Spectre. Ghost Rider, again, physical being, and was able to hold his own against World War Hulk. So I think from a strength standpoint, I'd actually have to give it to Ghost Rider. Speed. I get this a lot. Depending on your style of teleportation, I can't really consider it speed. Yes, if you look at speed being distance over, amount of distance covered divided by time, you can pretty much say, well then, teleportation should count, depending on how you teleport. If you teleport through much more of the Star Trek style, where you're actually phasing, becoming an energy source, and transporting by someplace else, there actually is a time where you're in both places simultaneously. Well, if you're in both places simultaneously, you're really not actually covering the ground between the two different points. Different level of teleporting would be something like, I'm drawing a blank. She's the mutant that throws the little, pink energy blasts. Oh, wow, I'm totally drawing a blank on that character. She was in Exiles a lot. She was pink, threw the pink darts and hopped through the darts. I know I could just hop on my iPad and check, just drawing a blank. Now with hers, she actually opens a portal, so she's actually taking space and time, folding it, piercing the hole, and going through it. With that way then, okay, well your speed is actually her going from one spot to another spot. Yeah, she changed more location, but physically she didn't really move very far. Now contrast that with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler actually leaves our universe, travels through another dimension, and comes back. Which would make me think that technically Nightcrawler, if I were to use teleportation as a speed attribute, would be the fastest. Because he actually leaves one universe, he actually leaves one reality, goes to another, physically moves that reality, then comes back to ours. So 2 reality jumps in the time it says back. But I really can't use these sort of things because Spectre just appear. Does it make him really fast? Not necessarily. Versus Ghost Rider, who again, having an actual physical form, being corporeal, actually does have a speed style that we actually can understand when it comes to looking at it from a much more humanistic viewpoint. Again, I'm trying to look at these things from how is it that the human can conceptualize the things that are of the cosmic. We're trying to put the best physical classifications and box around things that actually are of a cosmic nature and are beyond the realm of human understanding. Durability. They're both cosmic level functional immortals that require a human host. So I'm looking at 2 functionally immortal cosmic entities. Both could be considered, well, one's considered an angel, one's considered an archangel, but it still both puts them in the realm of pretty much immortality. They both have healing factors. There's really nothing that can be said when it comes to durability. They're not going to get tired. They're 2 variations of a spirit of vengeance. They're functionally immortal. They're the same in that. One of the very times you actually have this is a wash. I can't say, well, one's more immortal than the other immortal. Now, if it's like Vandal Savage on one side, Red Rush Man on the other, well, then yes, they're both immortal, One can't actually die, one dies and comes back. But these two are both functionally immortals. Invulnerability. Well, unless you're wielding supreme level divine artifacts, these guys share the exact same vulnerability. If I'm facing either Ghost Rider or Spectre, and I have the Spear of Longinus or Spear of Destiny, whichever term you're on use for it, I can defeat both of them. That object can be used to beat both of them. But you have to have divine powered weaponry. If you have access to it, they're both weak to it. Their invulnerability, it's superpowered magic, divine implements. That's it. They have identical invulnerability. So, can't. Energy projection. How are these guys when it comes to the actual distance combat? And when you've Ghost Rider. Hellfire, ridiculously powerful, which shows he actually can harm individuals of... he can harm individuals of the level of like a World War Hulk. Where Spectre, if he were to have chosen to, because he actually could have, just he was no longer bound, so he had to find a host, was actually able to do battle against an individual like Parallax. Parallax, of course, being a cosmic fear entity. So if you have the ability to actually damage cosmic level entities that are sentient versions of emotions, I would put that above being able to use Hellfire and hurt World War Hulk. Versatility. Ghost Rider, currently I think now you can go in between dimensions. But a lot of it's chains Hellfire. Changing anything you want it to become. Hellfire takes up any form that he wants to become. Versus, guess what? A reality warper. Warp reality, warp time, warp space. So right now we're tied up. Going into X Factor. What is that one thing that makes one more powerful than the other? This is going to come down to where their power comes from. They are both considered beings been created by God. Yes, they both have Judeo-Christian backgrounds. So it comes down to which one is closer. Zarathos is an angel of justice. Still considered an angel. So in the hierarchical structure, good location. Doesn't get direct feed from the voice or Judeo-Christian God. On the DC side, the voice directly powers Spectre. Spectre's classified as an archangel. So in the pecking order, Spectre is the stronger of the two. Ironically, if you look at these guys as the side of a coin, Ghost Rider is the physical side of the coin. He is the physical presence. His style of action is dealing with things in a much more physical and direct manner. Other side of that coin is the Spectre. The Spectre is the raw, cosmic level entity version of the character. So you could almost say if these two characters were to be in a comic, they could probably be on the panel simultaneously. As long as if it's Blue Ghost Rider, though, they'll probably get along. Be like, my job is to do this. Oh, you physically do all this stuff? Yeah. What about you? Oh, I'm wicked powerful, and I just do these things from like a metaphysical standpoint. Oh, you gonna like buddy cop this? Just think about it. Those two characters together. If you take the Crispin Allen version, where he's a cop, put him together with a closer to cop version of Ghost Rider. That's it. That is your ultimate crossover movie. Have Nolan direct it, because Nolan likes doing cop things with supernatural and superhero aspects to it. Done. These two characters share so much in common. Like I said, they're just opposite sides. On the DC side, Spectre he's the metaphysical, cosmic version. Marvel Ghost Rider, he is the physical embodiment version.